Thanks to the support as a channel member, Captain Fighting Peacock. Well, I had planned to retire the corduroy blazer and the shirt by this point and just start wearing normal clothes, but then Romeo Beckham became our saviour and our greatest player, and now there's that constant worry that his dad might turn up and I need to look as good as him. And I think we'll all agree, like this, I look as good as him. But if I was just wearing a t-shirt, it starts to become questionable if I can compete with David Beckham for looks. I think I'd probably still edge it, but there's the worry. So for now, the blazer does stay. I promise you I am washing the shirt. Hello and welcome to part 8 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have 2 games for you in the league. We're at home to Spennymoor, away against Curzon Ashton. But the real headline is that Romeo Beckham has saved us, saved me probably more than anything. We've seen over the last couple of episodes just how close I was to getting the sack. Well, look at the last 4 matches. We've won 4 of our last 5. We've won 5 of our last 7. Does that maths work? And Romeo Beckham is a superstar. He has scored 5 goals in 6 appearances. He's averaging a 7.18 average rating. He is the greatest player in the history of Brackley Town. The league table now looks like this. We have made it into the top half, which means the board are happy. Look, they were that easy to please. We've moved up 2 places and suddenly they're pleased with me. But I'm now glancing tentatively upwards with 9 games remaining and only 6 points behind Kidderminster. The National League North is a strange league. If we win both of our matches today, and who knows what might be able to do with Beckham in the side, but if we win both of our matches today, we could find ourselves backdoor Keving our way towards a potential playoff push. So that's the new goal. And this is the team that we're going to be putting out there against Spennymoor to try and get us that step closer to the promised land. Why is everybody showing us being rested? Because it's not match day. Why did Past Kev stop here? Is there something in the inbox that I've missed? Oh, there you go. That's why. Because Francis is now double happy. The board are delighted to inform you that following the promise you made to them, they're now satisfied that you've done your utmost to keep it. Establishing our faith in you as manager is vital for your long-term success at the club, and we're pleased to see you firmly embrace that. As a result of the improvements you've made as manager, the board have cancelled any plans to relieve you of your role at the club. Going forward, the board hope you won't give them reason to regret their decision. There you go. Past Kev left me a lovely clue. Now we'll go forward a day and a half and actually play that game against Spennymoor. Spennymoor are up in the playoffs, so they're one of the teams we're potentially chasing. Let's go beat them in the ever so slight future. There you go. See, they're all back from their little rest now, and this is now our lovely Route 1 team. I both love it and hate it in equal measure. It's a means to an end to get us through this season. Maxted in goal, a back four of McGinn, Pratt, Dean and Little. Murrumbedsi and Bates in midfield. Thomas on the left. Romeo Beckham, the superstar Romeo Beckham on the right-hand side. I don't know why my columns have gone skew with. And then Hall and Newton together up front. Let's get our team submitted and get out there and hopefully win what would be our 5th win in a row if we can pull this one off. I give you advanced warning, it isn't pretty. We are very much Route 1, long ball, long throw, set piece merchants. It's horrible to watch, but it is effective. And there you have an example of it in action. I mean, Hall and Little very much playing the opposite role to what you would expect them to play there. Hall is the guy receiving the throw and then playing the crossover, and Little, the right back, is there to drive it home. But like I say, it's effective. We are the set piece boys and we're loving it. It's horrible. Oh, it's so non-league. I don't remember ever having to play quite this way before, but there's no arguing with the fact that it's effective and suits the players that we've got at the club. So there is, regardless of what league we're in, and we're almost certainly going to be in this one, but regardless of what league we're in next year, there is going to be quite the rebuild coming in the summer, where I am going to try and get some more players in who fit a little bit closer to the way I like to play football. But I've spent all season trying to play football the way I like to play it, and it got me almost fired multiple times. So I have finally given in and agreed to play football the way these boys want it. And it is suiting them. These set pieces are very, very dangerous. And I mean, it's made us a lot more solid. We're effectively playing a 4-4-2, although it's listed as a 4-2-4. That's purely because the two wide men that we've got have got that Football Manager thing where they can't play wide midfield, even though they can play on the wing. So we have to play them like this. But they are, as you can see, when we're defending, we're lining up in two banks of four. You can see Beckham and Thomas both getting back in there alongside the midfield players. So it is a 4-4-2. We've just had to call it something different to trick the two wingers into playing in it properly. But 1-0 up after 15 minutes would do me very nicely. I'd quite like us to successfully defend this corner. It's hit that guy in the face, and then Hall there desperately trying to defend. It comes back out to the corner taker, which always makes me think surely it's offside. I also don't know how that's a bait zone goal. That was just a bunch of calamities upon calamities there, I think. So firstly, how does it get back to him without him being offside? Because Hall tackles into him. That guy's shirt's now disappeared. But somewhere in here, that's Alfie Bates. Somehow he scores an own goal as part of this. So, yep. Two disasters in one move. But we follow it up with an immediate corner. It's going to be Bates looking for that in-swinger. Can he find a guy in a red shirt? He can't, but Hall's on the edge of the area, plays it across to Newton, who's hit the post. And again, it shows just how big and strong our defence are now that we're doing these corners, and it's our strikers, Hall and Newton, with the guys hovering outside the penalty area because we're packing the area with the big meaty boys. But it very nearly paid off. Hall laying it off to Newton, and Newton probably should have done just a smidgen better, but it comes back to our left back, McGinn, who was part of the panic signings. And has settled in quite nicely as our starting left back now. And there's Hall, who's picked up the loose ball. I mean, it was an audacious effort because he's miles out and he just kind of rolled it along the floor because he's noticed the goalkeeper out of decision. It nearly worked beautifully. The only problem is, if you're going to be that much of a fancy pants show off, you've got to hit the target. And unfortunately, it's gone wide, and it's now with Murrumbedzi in midfield. He's got plenty of options ahead of him. Thomas is one of them. Thomas comes back inside, gives it to Bates. Bates lays it off to McGinn, and it's now back with Thomas again, who's got three players lining up in the middle for the cross, but just puts it up in the air, and the Spennymoor goalkeeper plucks it out of the sky with relative ease, and that felt like a chance wasted. But it's now with Beckham in midfield. It's the first time we've seen him on the ball today. Beckham playing it to Newton, and now Newton to Bates, and Murrumbedzi again gives it to Hall. Hall has come a little bit deep, but now plays it out to Beckham. Beckham has quite the cross on him, and he gets himself into a crossing position. It's a good one, and Thomas gets onto the end of it, hits the inside of the post, and it bobbles clear. We are banging on the door here. It's going to be another long throw. Murrumbedzi to take, finds Pratt on the edge of the area. It's back with Murrumbedzi again, and now Dean back to Murrumbedzi for the third time. The cross to Thomas, and this time he can't keep his header down. He's had a couple of opportunities for those far post headers now, and not having a lot of luck with them. But we're not just knocking on the door, we're smashing all kinds of limbs into the door at the moment, trying to break it down and grab ourselves a goal before half-time. Bates with the free kick from the edge of the area hits the side netting, and we deserve to be in the lead. I mean, we've been the better team, and I feel a little bit hard done by that it's 1-1 at half-time with a home team against a team who are above us in the league, but we have looked good. The days of us being pushovers in matches like this seem to be over, thankfully. Beckham coming away with the ball from the Spennymoor corner. What we need to do now is capitalise on this dominance that we've had in the match. Spennymoor forcing their way back in, and that is a disaster. Not least because I've already got the thumbnail made and he's on it. So if he only plays half of the first match, I mean, he was still good for the previous several matches. A thigh injury is not ideal, is it? And Lowe is definitely no Beckham, and that is going to cause us problems because it's not just the change to Route 1 that has helped the rejuvenation. It definitely is the introduction of that extra bit of quality of Beckham. He is the best player at the club on star rating. He has got that little bit of star power about him, and we are going to miss him if we have to go without him for any significant length of time. Thomas, I mean, he really does seem to want a goal today, but why he's not just played that across to Newton or Hall, who was standing in the middle waiting for it, I do not know. It's very, very wasteful from him. And now we've got McGinn is tiring. Thomas is also tiring. We don't really have anyone who can go out onto that left-hand side. We have got Matt Derbyshire, though, who can come on up front for Newton. I forgot I signed Matt Derbyshire. It's been a couple of days since I've played the save. And yeah, Matt Derbyshire's in as well. And unfortunately, not getting on the end of that corner. It looked like it was setting up nicely for McGinn. We've got 15 minutes left. I would like a winner here, and it's going to be another corner, and it's going to be Bates to take the outswinger this time. We don't hit an outswinger very often. Something a little bit different. Have we got somebody to sling on to the end of it as part of being Set Piece FC? We have, and his name is George Pratt. It's a 6th goal of the season for him, and it's a hugely important one for us, because if things stay as they are, that's 5 wins on the bounce. You wouldn't have expected this at the end of the last episode, but the inspirational Romeo Beckham and the change to what could only be described as industrial football seems to be turning this club on its head. And as it stands right now, we're only 4 points outside of the playoffs. We need to cling on until the end of the match, and other results need to continue to go our way. But 4 points outside of the playoffs with 8 games to go, we're definitely in it. And Hall is through on goal. He just needs to find the finish. And this time, there's no faffing about from Connor Hall. He kicks it properly as if it were a football, and it ends up in the back of the net. Brackley 3, Spennymoor 1. That should be job done for the day. Spennymoor had so many men forward. Hall got a little bit of fortuitous deflection onto him to continue with the ball. But to be fair, their goal was for a very similar fortuitous deflection at the other end that also involved Connor Hall, I think. So he deserved it. 3-1 up, 5 minutes to go. We can even have a little bit of a wobble here and presumably still be okay. But I don't want to test the theory. Spennymoor with the shot from range hits the post, I think. Look at these match stats. We've been absolutely dominant. We absolutely deserve the win. And this is the turnaround that we've had. I was fully crediting it to Beckham, but we've looked just as good after he left the pitch. So maybe it was route one all along. That's all we needed. Hopefully Beckham's not too injured. If he's out for the rest of the season, that's going to make me sad. That's made me sad. We're not likely to see Beckham again this season. He is under contract for next year as well. So it's not the end of the Romeo Beckham story. But what a way to introduce himself to English football. 5 goals from 7 appearances in his first season. He'll have a pre-season under his belt and hopefully be an absolute megastar for us next year. But now we've got to try and do this run-in without him, which is an awful lot more complicated. But we are only 4 points behind South Shields. We now play Curzon Ashton, who are down here. We can win again. We're in it. We are properly in it. Right, just the one change for Curzon Ashton. Then Lowe comes in for Beckham. I'm still so sad that I don't get to show you all of the fancy things that Beckham has been doing. It says he might be back as quickly as 3 weeks for an injury that was supposed to keep him out for 3 months. If he's back in 3 weeks, that's remarkable healing qualities. Maybe we've not seen the end of Romeo Beckham for this season, but we're certainly going to be without him today. Curzon Ashton are 6 points below us in the league. So they're a team that before our little run that we've been on were almost certainly above us in the league. As the away team without our best player, it's probably a bit of a coin flip, but we've won 5 in a row now. So we are the form team in the National League North. You'd be mad to bet against us in these current circumstances. We are set piece long balling our way out of the division in the right direction this time. Look, Spennymoor have bounced back from what we've just done from 3-0 up inside 9 minutes. Shows how good it was for us to beat them the way we just did. They're a good side. Marine, I think, are pretty rubbish, but let's not let that get in the way of a feel-good Kev story. Murren Bedsy has had 2 long-range efforts in the first 15 minutes. That one hits the top of the crossbar. He seems to feel like he wants a goal today. Right, we've got a long throw from a corner position. It's as good as a corner. Murren Bedsy with the long throw finds Pratt back with Murren Bedsy, crosses to Lowe, and ironically, his header was high. And unfortunately doesn't end up in the back of the net. But once again, we've started things off with the better of the chances. Curzon Ashton not yet having a shot. We've had 6 and missed them all, which is not ideal. We have got both of our strikers on the transfer list currently, not because they're rubbish. I mean, Connor Hall's one of the top scorers in the division. They just don't really suit the way I want this team to play long term. I want rid of them. I want to rebuild a team in my own image. So if we can get money for them, we'd like some money for them, please, which is why they're on the transfer list. Unfortunately, we're now behind. And I mean, we're always going to be a little bit vulnerable to this. We're very, very static. Murren Bedsy, as a ball-winning midfielder, dragged out of position the way they are wont to be dragged. And it just leaves a gap in front of the back four. And they're very flat and very slow and very easy to get in behind like that. But Bates now trying to get something going, plays the ball out to Thomas on the left-hand side. And now McGinn has got up to join him. McGinn bursts into the area and he's an idiot. I don't know why he's had a shot there. You've got two free-scoring strikers in the middle who need the ball serving to them, but when it's served to them, score, and you decide to do that, you plum. Right, Pratt gives it back to Murren Bedsy again. Lovely cross from him this time, but Bates can't get up above his defender at the far post. He wasn't really the ideal man to be in that position. I don't know why Lowe wasn't there, but Lowe does end up winning the ball back, and it's now with Bates in a position where he's much more threatening. Gives it to Pratt. Now Pratt over the top to Thomas. Hall's in the middle if we can find him. The defender does well to deal with him, but it's back with Thomas again. Thomas plays it over to Lowe, who has the effort that's blocked by a defender. It's back with Little, though. We are really, I mean, we're relentless. Little now floats it over to Thomas at the far post, who, rather than heading it back across goal, decides to have the shot. And similar to what we saw with McGinn before, sometimes our boys are a little bit selfish and unfortunately not quite good enough to be as selfish as they can be at times. And sometimes they've just got to learn to square it to the poachers we've got in the middle. The tap-in merchants will absolutely love a bit of that. Right, we're going attacking. We could really use Romeo. Romeo, wherefore art thou? He's injured. That's where he is. And I'm very sad about it. We're going to demand more and hope this goal doesn't go in. We need Maxted at his brilliant best here. Maybe he's just a confidence boy. Maybe I need to be nice to him and he'll do things like that. I mean, it has been noticeable on this run of good form that we've been in. I haven't moaned at him very much. So maybe when things are going well, things go well for him. That's nice. It's a nice situation to be in, I guess. Right. Pollock is going to come on. He has been learning to play on the right wing. I know you lot love him. I've still not seen the best of him, but Pollock is on. We're bringing Derbyshire on again to play alongside Hall. We've not seen very much of Matt Derbyshire since he arrived. Mark Little, as an old man, has been fantastic. Matt Derbyshire might be a bit too old. I think he's nearly as old as I am. He might score here and make it all worth bringing him in. Pratt's there. It's a very good save from the Curzon Ashton keeper. Pratt is getting more and more threatening at these set pieces as time goes on. And that one was a point blank save from their goalkeeper, who does very, very well in the end. And now we've got players to try and, I mean, we've not really got any attacking options, have we? Pratt, I guess, comes off for Cabangolo. We're going to go to a very attacking mentality and hope that we can throw men forward for an equaliser. It's another long throw. Murren Bedsy to Dean. Back to Murren Bedsy again, who floats it in for Hall. Hall, again, I mean, he has been in the pocket of that defender all day long. He's not having a very nice time. What I might do, swap those two over. Just get Hall with a different centre-back marking him. Pollock, lovely work from Pollock. It was lovely skill and then a terrible pass. It defines Pollock perfectly. He has flashes of brilliance, but not much in the way of end product or actual, useful contribution to the team. Here's Pollock again, though. Plays it back to Little, almost kicks it out of play. And now Little over the top to Hall, who hasn't swapped sides yet, but has found himself a little bit of space. I don't think he knew whether that was a shot or a cross to Derbyshire. It ended up as neither and goes wide. And I think we are dropping points here. And this is probably the end of a playoff push. He says we're still only 5 points outside as it stands. An equaliser and we're right back in the mix. But I don't think we're getting an equaliser, are we? We are going to miss Beckham. We need to get him in an oxygen tank. We need to get him cured. We need to be flooding the pitch, delaying some of these matches, getting Beckham fit again, because without him, we are just not the same team. But it's not over till it's over at this level. 4 points behind Southport, and we've got a better goal difference. 7 games still to play. Anything can happen, yeah? It's mad. National League North is mad. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.